Hi, I'm Beth. I'm a yoga teacher and I'm a psychologist who works at counseling services at SUNY Geneseo, a state University of New York school. I developed this brief yoga routine that we're going to do today for a group that my colleague is doing. It's called Calm, Center and Live Mindfully, and that's a mindfulness-based group. So this is going to be a mindfulness-based yoga practice. We are really going to focus on the connection between the mind and the body, feeling the breath, moving with the breath, and noticing what is happening in your body as you move through the poses. I'll attach a link to a PDF with the entire sequence in the instructions below. We're not going to do every pose in that sequence, mainly because I want to keep this to around 30 minutes. So I might skip a few things here and there. I'm also going to stay on the floor, and that's mainly because it'll be harder to see me if I stand up. I will do a few postures that I'll tell you that you can do standing. So we are going to start lying on the ground. Make your way down to lying on your back, and I might be adjusting, grabbing my props, my clock so I can time myself. Lie all the way down, stretch out your arms, stretch out your legs. Legs are a little bit apart, kind of flopped open from all the way where your bones go into your pelvis. And same with your hands, flop them open a little bit, releasing, opening everything toward the floor. If you like, you can roll from one shoulder to the other, tucking your shoulder blades a little bit underneath you. You might want to wiggle around in your low back so that you have a natural curve in your low back, natural sense of space. Allow the ground to support you. Take these few moments to check in with whatever is going on with you now. Invite a sense of mindful curiosity about your experience, your emotions, your thoughts, your physical sensations. Exploring and acknowledging what is happening in your body without judging, without criticizing, allowing it to be just as it is. And once you've taken stock, you're aware, you've noticed, you've gathered your attention to what's happening, draw your attention in toward your breath. If it helps you, you can lay one or both hands on your body so that you can feel the sense of breath in your body. In this practice, we're not looking to alter or change the breath. We really just want to feel the breath, to notice it, to allow it to be as it is. And then allow you to time your breaths. I'm going to time and ask you to count your breaths so that when you're practicing these poses on your own, you have kind of a benchmark for how long to hold your poses. So in a moment, look at my clock here. When I tell you, we're going to count off 30 seconds and just count each round of breath that you have in that time. So if you breathe in and out, that's one round for you. It doesn't matter what the pace is, we're just trying to get a sense of it. So as you're ready, begin. You'll breathe in, breathe out, and then that's one. You continue with your own natural, comfortable breath, and that's two. It might be faster or slower, and that's totally okay. That's why we're doing this, to get a sense of what your own natural breath pace is. About 5 more seconds. And stop. So whatever you came to, that's how many breaths you take in an average 30-second span. If you want to hold your poses a minute, you'd obviously do about twice that. So if you had 3 breaths, you would hold for 6. And holding most poses for about 3 to 6 minutes is a good gauge. All right, so we'll start to move. We'll breathe in, reach, arms overhead, legs out the opposite direction, like you're taking a big morning stretch. And then as you exhale, you can take one or both knees in at a time, bringing the knees in toward your body. They might be wider apart, they might be closer together, so kind of play around with that and see what feels good to you, rocking around. And then you can hold your thighs, the tops of your knees. Rest your arms by your side if that feels better. So start to get a little movement. It can feel really nice to wiggle around a little bit on the low back. You might take both knees together and circle them in one direction and then the other. Whatever movement feels good. It doesn't have to look like anything. So we're not looking to make certain shapes. We're looking to feel. We're looking to explore, be curious, be interesting or interested about what's going on in our bodies. And then whenever you're ready, allow both feet to land on the floor relatively close to your body. You can wiggle around and adjust that to the place where you feel a natural bit of a curve in your low back. So it's just a slight bit of your low back curving away from the floor. And you'll notice that I'm looking at the camera. It's fine for you to gaze straight up in these poses. You don't want to crane your neck like I am. Don't follow me. From here, press your feet into the floor. And as you inhale, take a greater arch in your low back. So I don't know if you can see I'm exaggerating that arch a little bit as my abdomen rises toward the sky. And then as I exhale, I'm going to reverse that process, drawing the back into the floor. So pressing it a little bit into the floor, tipping my tailbone a little bit or scooping it a little bit as I release the breath. And then twice more like that at your pace. Inhale, rocking on the pelvis, creating a little bit of a lift, an arch. Exhale, tucking the tail, taking the air out as you scoop. One more time. This is some nice gentle movement to move the pelvis around, move the low back around. Exhale, scoop to release. And if you'd like, you can stretch out again once more. And then whenever you're ready, roll to one side of the body, and we'll transition up to a hands and knees position. So from hands and knees, our knees are going to be right under our hips, hands under the shoulders, or maybe a little bit forward, about shoulder width apart, pressing evenly into all the pads of the fingers so we're not putting all the energy on the wrist or on the inside of the hands. I want to feel it even. This is called tabletop pose, but I still have that natural little bit of a curve to my low back. And then we'll do the same movement with our pelvis that we just did lying on the ground. As we breathe in, the abdomen floats toward the ground. The chest moves a little forward now this time. You can look up a little bit. This is cow pose. And then as you exhale, chin comes toward the chest. Tailbone tucks down as the back arches. And that's cat pose. So continue about 3 more times on your own. Sometimes I'll be practicing with you. Sometimes I'll face the camera. I don't want you to look at me the whole time. I want you to feel how this pose is feeling in your body, or these series of 2 poses that are designed to bring some forward and back bending movement into your back. And so wherever you are, do 1 more in each direction. And I'll come back to join you. And then once you've done that, find your solid middle place. We'll take this into what's called bird dog. It's a little bit of a balance. So I'll slide my right foot, or the foot closer to the camera, out behind me with the toes tucked to start. And I can do a little rock back and forth, stretching out my calf muscles. And keeping the toes pointed right down to the ground. I'm going to lift this foot. Oops, I have a chair there. I'm just going to push that out of the way. Lift this foot any amount. Keeping my back elongated, so I'm not dropping my belly or arching back up into that cat shape. Pressing my heel out behind me, tractioning the leg. And then an option to add the arm in the opposite direction, playing around with balance even a little more. If this isn't where you are today, please keep in mind I've been doing yoga for a long time. So it's okay not to be able to hold the pose like I am. It's okay to be more wobbly. It's okay to touch down anytime you need to. And when you're ready, switch. So I'll stretch back my left foot, the one that's further away from the camera or your screen. Tucking my toes, again, a little bit of stretch. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to lift that leg. Reach the opposite arm in the opposite direction. Brace everything in the center, lightly brace, not clench, but just a little bit of an engagement of the muscles through my entire torso. And exhale and release. So you can certainly repeat that pose a few more times. It's great to practice and give you a sense of balance when everything is feeling really unbalanced. We move to some simple head and neck movements. I'll just turn my head in one direction and then in the other. You don't have to be going in the same direction as I do. Just looking over one shoulder and then the other, feeling some natural motion in your neck. And when you get to one side, I'm on my right side, so I look like I'm on your left. You might want to take a little nod up, shaking the head no. See how that feels in your neck. Transition through to the other side. Again, maybe a yes, maybe a no. Breathing all the while. And then back through center. This time we'll take the ear to the shoulder, so I'm mirroring you. It's your left ear to left shoulder. Ooh, I got a little bit of crack in there. Breathe through center, right ear to right shoulder. Back to the first side. And again here, if you want to add a little bit of a nod, yes or no. Finding any spots that maybe need a little bit more of your attention. And that's what we're doing in this mindful practice. We're simply paying attention. And the second side, paying attention allows us to assess things as they are and make decisions. Sometimes we might need to make new choices, but paying attention helps give us more space to do that rather than leap in. You might have heard the idea of responding rather than reacting. Back through center. You can take any other movement of your neck that you like. Be gentle. You don't have to force anything. Maybe chin up, chin down, perhaps a little chin forward, chin back. That front back movement can help with our text neck. And then settle your chin so that's roughly parallel to the ground. And let's do a few shoulder circles. So this whole neck and shoulder series can definitely be done standing. I'm sitting on my knees. You can sit in a chair, you can sit on the floor cross-legged, or you can be standing. Whatever position is comfortable for you. And as I said, right now I'm doing seated or on the floor largely so I can stay in camera range. And then opposite direction, notice how you circle your shoulders forward. Your shoulder blades move apart on your back, so allow your shoulder blades to have this motion, and you can make this bigger by getting your elbows into it a little more. You can even have full arms if you'd like. You want to do one arm and then the other for a few more. Just keep it to the shoulders. I like going back because it stretches across my sternum. Feels good to me. All right, settle that in. So one more little movement here, and that's going to be a lateral or side body stretch. So reach both arms up and overhead. Even though you can't see the tips of my fingers, you can see I'm reaching through my side body. I want to get as long as possible, stretching out those little intercostal muscles between the ribs. Breathing, and each breath in, you can grow taller, whether you're seated, whether you're lying, or create that length in your spine. And as you exhale your right hand down toward the ground, it can touch the ground if you're seated. If you're standing, it's not going to touch, obviously. Reach your left even a little higher, and then over to the side. So you can take your ribs on your left side and push them out, or your hip, push it out a little more to the side, getting even more of a crescent shape. lifting, stretching across the armpit. And then breathe both arms back up tall. Take a breath in, grow taller, grow larger, grow bigger. Social distancing, take up space. Exhale, your left hand down toward the floor. Right arm stretches up and long, and then over your head. Long side bodies. This is where we're stretching. You can have a block under this hand or a chair. My chair's not quite as close enough to grab. We'll have an option to use that later. You don't need the chair. You don't need any props. So I'm going to show you a chair option and a tie option. All right, breathe back up tall. Exhale and release. Okay, so we're going to come back down to the floor. This time we're going to come to lying on the belly. And I might, again, look at the camera. You look forward, so keeping the back of your neck in line with your spine. I just want you to be able to see and hear me as we do this. So coming down to lying on your belly. Your legs will stretch out long behind you as you lower your body to the floor, and then you'll be propping yourself up on your elbows. So I like to, if you can see, I like to tuck my toes, lift and stretch my leg back, and then rest the top of my foot back down. I'm going to do that with each leg. You can also take your leg just slightly off the ground as if somebody was gently tugging you and pulling your leg. We just want to find length in our legs. My elbows are under my shoulders. If this feels just any bit uncomfortable, like an uncomfortable crunch, you will feel a stretch in your low back, and that's okay. But if it's painfully uncomfortable, certainly move your elbows a little bit more forward of your shoulders. Palms are flat, like the Sphinx. And then rather than sort of slumping our chest between our shoulders, we push into our forearms, actively shine our heart, our chest toward the front direction, pulling, as if our upper arms are forming a gate and you're trying to pull your torso through that gate. Relax your shoulders so they're engaged but not scrunched up toward your ears. Your shoulder blades are widening a little bit on your back to be engaged. And breathe. Sometimes when we stay in poses a little bit, there's a tendency to hold the breath. So take your attention back to your breath. Notice the flow of the breath in and out. It's definitely okay to get distracted. It's completely normal. And yet that magic moment is when we realize we've been distracted by whatever and draw our attention back. All right, one more breath here. And as you exhale, you can make a little diamond-shaped pillow for your hands. Lower your head down. Turn your head in one direction, so one cheek on the floor. I'm looking toward the camera. Taking a breath or two there. And then turn your neck in the opposite direction and another breath or two the opposite way. Come up and use your arms to help yourself just flip over, returning to your back. So we were here before. Feet flat on the ground, knees in the air. Feet comfortably away from your body and knees or legs a comfortable distance apart. So here's where you have the option to use a belt, a tie. I just have a fitness band because I just wanted to show you can use anything. You can use a bungee or you can use nothing at all. So I will actually show first with nothing at all. And then I'll show the option to use a prop if you have a prop lying around. With your feet flat, you're going to draw one knee in toward your chest. We did this before with both knees. Now it's going to be just one. I'm taking the leg closer to the screen, or my left leg. And then from here, we'll bend, straighten a few times. So lifting the leg up toward the sky and rebending it. You don't have to go as straight as I am. In fact, it doesn't feel good to go all the way straight. But maybe I go straighter than you because, again, yoga teacher. It's okay. And everybody's body is different. This is not my tightest spot. I've got others. And one more time, I honestly wasn't counting that, so get a little movement there, and then keep your leg straightish. I'm not going to say straight because your straight might be here, or here, or here. You might not have as much angle at the hip as I do. Take it to the angle or the bend at your hip where you can straighten the leg the most. So again, your straight might be here. If you can get your leg more straight down here than you can up here, then yes, absolutely keep it down there, and you'll probably find that that feels easier for your low back as well. So the option with the strap is to loop the strap around the ball of the foot, rest your shoulders back toward the ground. So I'm giving myself enough strap so I'm not like pulling up like that, resting my shoulders back toward the ground. Just allowing this to guide my leg. Again, it might be here. But I have a loose grip on the hold, or whatever I'm holding. And if you don't want to hold anything, you can hold your leg or not. You can loop a shirt around your thigh and hold the edges of your shirt. So one more breath in whichever way you're holding this reclined leg stretch. And then lower your leg. Opposite knee in, and we'll bend straighten a few times. And you'll notice I really try to emphasize paying attention to how the poses feel in your body rather than how they look. If you were a yoga pose model, then how it looked would be really important, right? If you're a person, and I think most of us are, who has come to yoga because you want to feel better physically or mentally, then how the poses feel in your body is going to be what's important. All right, hold to your degree of straight, and that might be here. Remember to push your heel away and get your leg as long as it feels comfortable for you, even if it's lower. So that will give you more of a stretch. It might give you more of a stretch, actually. You can play around with that. Again, your body. So maybe here and more bent feels better than there and more straight for you. If you want, you can hold gently somewhere with your hands. You can grab, loosely grab, not, hold on really tight, but loosely grab your pants or whatever. Or you can take the strap. Allow your arms to rest back to the floor if you're using a strap or a tie or a pair of leggings. Push your heel away, whether it's pushing more up to the ceiling or pushing more out to front of you. It doesn't matter. It's that idea of getting length in the back of your leg. One more breath. And then exhale. Release that leg. You can set your strap if you were using it aside. One more pose before our final relaxation, and this will be a twist. So I'm going to twist the knees toward you, toward the screen. What I'm going to do first is scooch my hips a little bit in the opposite direction to make more space. So you'll see how I push into my feet and float my hips up just slightly, scooch my knees toward my right, or my hips toward my right, lift my knees, and then lower the knees left. Now the outside of my shins come toward the floor. Yours might not. It's certainly okay for your knees to be up. But if that doesn't feel comfortable, grab a pillow, a blanket, a cushion from your couch, rest it between your knees, under both legs, wherever feels good. And even though I am looking at you, you're going to look at the ceiling, stretch your opposite shoulder and your torso away. So my right shoulder is moving away from my knees toward the left, resting along the ground. And then if it feels good, maybe you turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees. And that is completely optional. It depends on how it feels in your neck. One more mindful breath in your twist. Feeling anything there is to feel in your body. Being interested and curious in the sense of what's going on. And then with your next breath, raise one leg, then the other, back up. Lower your legs down. slide your hips through center, that's the neutral spot, and then a little bit over toward, in my case it's to the left, toward the screen. Bend your knees and lift them and lower them away from the screen. So I'm going right. It's fine too if your legs are more staggered, if you want the bottom leg straight, top knee bent. There's all kinds of versions of a revolved twist. The main thing that all versions have in common is that everything underneath our belly button is twisting or rotating in one direction, and then above the belly button you'll see my torso. I'm working toward the left side, moving toward the ground, the left arm moving away. It could be more in a cactus or other shape, that's fine. It's that sense of wringing out the spine, the revolving around the spine. And you could rest your top hand on your knees, that sometimes feels nice. One more breath. Then exhale, one leg and then the other back through center. Readjust your body as needed. And then we'll set up for our final relaxation or shavasana. So you can do just as we started with the legs spread, the arms spread, and the arms can be in any position. We want them kind of away from the body if that feels good, to open up across the front body. You can also have the palms resting on your torso, your ribs, maybe overhead feels better for you. Knees can be bent if anything is straining your back, or you can have a cushion between your knees. And then the last version I'm going to show is with the chairs. I'm going to roll up for a second. So if you have a chair handy, like I do, you can have your shins on the chair. So this is a really nice restful way to do shavasana. Kind of flip so my shins came up on the chair, and then I'm resting my body, helping myself with my forearms so my body comes back down. I have a metal folding chair. I'm going to tuck my toes underneath the back of the chair. You could do this on a couch, on a bed, as long as it's the right height so that it's not lifting your body off the ground. Your shins are just gently resting here. Take a few moments to shift and get comfortable. If something's not comfortable, it's important to adjust at the beginning of the pose to find a place that feels more relaxed. So then you can spend a few minutes releasing into your comfortable rest position. Briefly check in with your body like you did at the start of class. Now with the goal of resting, allowing your body to be supported, allowing your mind to start to rest. If it wanders, it's okay. Bring it back to that sense of comfort, that sense of quiet, that sense of being supported on the ground. So you'll stay here for a little longer. I'm going to come to a seated position. Remember that if you notice your mind wandering, gently and softly bring it back to your breath. Giving yourself permission to take this pause from your day. To take time for you. To be supported by the ground. I'm going to read from a book by Jack Kornfield. It's called A Lamp in the Darkness. I'm going to read a short passage where he quotes something from his own teacher. His teacher's name is Ajahn Chah. And I found this quote really appropriate and relevant to what's happening in the world right now. So Jack Kornfield writes, unfortunately, there is no rule book for life. Things are uncertain, aren't they? My teacher Anjay Chah used to say. To accept this basic uncertainty in life is to discover the wisdom of insecurity. When we realize that things are fundamentally uncertain and learn how to relax into this uncertainty, we come to trust in the unfolding of our individual lives within the vastness of all time and space. As Zen master Suzuki Roshi says, when you realize the truth that everything changes and find your composure in it, you find yourself in nirvana. And of course, nirvana is that place of ultimate rest and peace. Enjoy about 3 more breaths in this pose, resting into your space, remembering that it is okay for your breathing to be longer or shorter than what I cued. And then as you're ready, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, start to shift around a little bit, maybe drawing your knees in as we did at the start of class. Roll your body to one side and pause for a moment or two on your side. Yoga gives us this gift of pause, this mindful, reflective time. This allowing ourselves to move out of autopilot and see where we are. And as you're ready, use your arms to help yourself up. Coming back into some kind of a seated position. You can sit on your chair, you can sit on a cushion, whatever you'd like. Once more, feeling your breath in your body. And let's take one last mindful breath together. So as you breathe in, move your arms, raising them, palms up in a big circle, coming to overhead. As you exhale, draw your palms together. Your palms cross through center, the home of your intellect. Come to rest near your heart, the home of your compassion and your love. And in psychology, we call this intersection of the intelligence and the emotional part your wise mind. Your wise mind is that place where you can make the best decisions for yourself, where you can rest in a sense of pause, be mindful, and make the best choices for you, the ones that allow you to respond to all that is going on in your life, in the world, to make mindful responses, mindful choices, rather than just automatic autopilot reactions. I thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you, and I hope that you move forward into the rest of your day with good health and with peace. Take care. I hope to see you again.